Okay, to get right into it, you are here for mind, body, and soul. And I'm going to read the learning objective to you. You may have kind of breezed over it. I have some notes here. You'll see me looking down. I'm kind of reading and trying to still look at you at the same time. So the learning objective says that the participants in the mind, body, and soul breakout session will utilize light physical movement and energizing movement music to facilitate positive avenue for stress relief and overall improvement of the quality of life for participants of all ages. It has been proven that regular aerobic exercise improves thinking and cognition for children aged 6 to 13 and reduce short-term feelings of anxiety in adults. The methods utilized during this breakout session can be easily recreated to encourage structured physical activity in children. And also this works for active older adults. It really doesn't matter the age. It's definitely something that's tangible for everybody that you can take with you and really implement into your life. So, to tell you a little bit about me before we dive into it, obviously my name is Tony Quinn. I've been a certified fitness professional for the past 8 years. I started my fitness journey exactly 8 years ago when after I had my second daughter. I don't know about you, but some women are breeders. I am not. Everything gets big. My nose got big, my hips got big, everything got absolutely massive with both of my pregnancies. So, after a while, I decided that I wanted to start working out, but I really didn't know where to start. There was a group of women that were starting to work out together at Soul City Boxing on Junction Avenue, which is a hardcore boxing gym in central Toledo. And they opened the doors to us for absolutely free, and it was a group of moms that got together with the coach at 8 o'clock at night, and we just hit the hell out of those heavy bags as much as we could and release some of those negative laurels. We started to form relationships with each other, and we started to encourage each other to come to class. After a while, I started to realize that people were coming because I was there. They weren't coming because the coach was there, because he actually was really kind of mean, but everybody's motivated in a different way. He was the type that would motivate me, kind of move it, let's go, let's go, let's go. But I'm a cheerleader by heart and by nature, so I'm kind of a little more positive with it. So I started to realize that a lot of the women were coming because I was there. It started to create friction in my home life because I was constantly at the boxing gym. And the person that I was with at the time said, "Well, I don't know why you're doing all of this. It's not like you're making any money out with all that working out." I was like, huh, well, there's a thought. So I took that little tidbit of information, kind of did a little research to figure out what I can do and how I could turn my hobby into something that I actually can profit from. So I wanted to do something that was a little more women friendly and something that was a little more fun. I've always loved music. Music is a big part of my life. I've always loved dancing, but I've never really been that great of a dancer. But I fell in love with the Zumba format and how easy it was to learn simple steps and teach simple steps to other people to engage them in fun and engaging activities with really fun music to the point where they don't even realize that they're working out, but they're definitely getting the recommended required amount of exercise for their body. So that's a little bit about what I do. I've taught a little bit of everywhere throughout the city. When I first became a Zumba instructor, I had no experience, so it was pretty hard to find jobs that will hire somebody with absolutely no experience. I got linked up with American Mobile Fitness, and his idea was to go to nursing homes all around the city between here in Indiana and Michigan for silver sneakers classes. So I was a Zumba instructor. I wasn't really ready to work with folks that are over the age of a certain age and definitely stuck in a chair. These people, some of them were ambulatory, but they were definitely not getting out of the chair. So my very first day on the job, my boss comes up to me and he whispers, "Keep him in the chair and make him sweat. I'll see you later." And I froze. I was like, whoa. So what am I supposed to do with this? So I turned my music on. I sat in the chair and I did everything that I would do standing, but I just stayed in the chair and it worked. It absolutely worked. And they absolutely loved it because it wasn't old fogey music. It wasn't something that was too slow. And it was a lot of the songs that they actually could remember and can attach to a really fun time in their life too. So it became something that kind of spread throughout Toledo. After that, I've worked at the Y, I've worked at the University of Toledo, I've worked many other places. I'm currently at the Monroe Street Neighborhood Center, which is a small nonprofit in the heart of the city. They have the Savvy Seniors Wellness Program, which is a program for active over adults over the age of 50 to get active and get fit and keep moving. I teach Zumba Gold and also Cardio Hustle here. I'm also affiliated with Holistic Hands, which is a mental health facility, a wellness gallery that is on the campus of the University of Toledo. It's a very new nonprofit, and we actually just opened our doors yesterday. I taught the first class yesterday, so it's going to be something absolutely amazing for the students. We're hoping to offer everything that we have to offer for absolutely free. We are doing a whole lot of fundraising to try to get these holistic therapies and fitness and nutrition and all sorts of things into the hands of people that not necessarily would have access to them. So it's available for the students as well as people from the surrounding city. So that's a little bit about what I do in a nutshell. So for the format for today, we are going to move around a lot. So I hope you're not too comfortable in that chair. We're going to move around a lot. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing. We're definitely going to incorporate the mind, body, soul aspects. We're going to start with the mind and then gradually increase the intensity from there. I'm not sure what type of chair that you're sitting in, but some of our exercises will be done seated in a chair. If you have a chair with wheels and you're comfortable with it, that's fine. The best type of chair to use would be something that's kind of stationary and doesn't have arms. But for our purposes, any type of chair will do. You definitely need wingspan space. So you'll be able to spread your arms towards the end of the class, and throughout some of this we may be doing a few things that are standing, but I definitely want you moving and definitely want you kind of digest some of what you've got going on. So the first thing we're going to talk about is obviously mind. So we're going to do a mindfulness exercise, and this is something that you definitely can do with children between the ages of 6 to 13 and something that you can incorporate into your life as well. So before we get into it, we're going to have a little chit chat, and I kind of want you've seen the story, the Christmas Story, right? And Ebenezer Scrooge is going from different places and seeing people, and he's kind of a fly on the wall with the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, right? So I want you to be a fly on the wall. The main character of this story is you. It starts with you. And while you're thinking about this, I want you to think about what mindfulness means to you. What it means to me is being present in that exact moment, not thinking of what happened yesterday, not thinking what's happening later, but being present in that moment and reacting according to what's in that moment. We can always train ourselves to be better reactors when we are mindful and present in the moment. So I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios. I'm going to read them so I don't screw them up. Just think about what you would do in every situation, okay? So the first one, beautiful human, that would be you, awakens Monday morning to find that their teenage daughter is frantically trying to complete an assignment that should have been done over the weekend. Again. You feel unheard and disrespected by the repeated offense, and it leads to a heated debate between the two of you. Both of you leave home angry, and you decide to take her cell phone away. Beautiful human, that's you, takes a trip to Tim Hortons and you decide to get a cup of coffee. You place your order, barely grumbling through the staticky radio, and then when you arrive at the window, you receive the wrong coffee in the wrong size cup and the wrong flavor. You tell the person at the window, you completely go on a tirade, and you tell them that if you were the manager, you would fire them. And how can they be so disrespectful to not reply, to not follow directions and listen to your wishes? You drive off with your coffee and continue on with your day. The manager at Tim Hortons notices that an employee that was supposed to be at the window is entering into the building. She immediately starts to berate that employee, saying that if you were here and you would show up on time once in a while, I wouldn't even be here. She continues to berate her the entire shift, telling her that she's never going to be anything but a Tim Hortons worker. But the employee doesn't say anything because she wants to keep her job. She's a single mother. That single mother goes home to 3 boys, a 16-year-old, a 12-year-old, and an 8-year-old. She finds her home in complete disarray, and all the boys are just sitting around and playing video games when she told them they needed to do their homework after school and also clean up a little. She berates the children because she had a bad day at work. She tells them that they'll never be anything either. They'll be just like their father. She physically abuses them and tells them to clean the house from top to bottom and sends them to bed without any dinner. The 3 boys finally go to sleep well after midnight. And the 8-year-old always has a difficult time waking up in the morning, and the next morning was no exception. He wakes up late, has no time for breakfast, leaves the house disheveled to appear in your classroom. Okay? The next morning is a better morning for you. You wake up with the joy of the Lord, with a smile on your face, ready to conquer anything that comes in the day. But you look up from your desk and you see a disheveled 8-year-old walking your direction. This student is always a problem, but this day he's in rare form. He definitely has all his personality on 10. He ended up getting an in-school suspension because of his behavior. Now, the easy part to relate all of this is everything starts with something. And this whole fiasco started with your reaction. It started with you as the beautiful human taking a situation that had to do with your personal life and transferring that emotion to every single person until it came right back to you and into your day. When you are being mindful and you train your brain to be emotionally aware and emotionally available, it makes you a better listener. It lets you assess the situation a little bit better so you can respond in a compassionate and a loving way to the situation at hand. So I want to hear from you. You can unmute yourselves. I'd like you to talk to me. I get tired of hearing myself. When you think of mindfulness, what do you think of? Anybody?
I'm gonna
Me be
talk.
What did she say?
Me?
Yes, you.
yes.
Um, I think mindfulness is, and I practice it. I try really hard to stay in the moment
Yes.
right now as it is, just like you said, not thinking about what happened yesterday, not thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow. Um, so I try really hard to stay in the present. So I get it. I get it. Yeah.
Good.
And
Awesome.
transferring all those emotions that
Yeah.
maybe upset you earlier in the day, I get that too. So I try real hard to be in the present and
Yeah.
not judge people, not, transfer my bad day or my emotions onto someone else.
Right. We have to be so careful with that because it can happen so easily. You can
Yeah.
accidentally be so short and snippish to somebody, and it has nothing to do with you. You just stubbed your toe, and somebody walks up to you and says something, and you're like, "What?" And it has nothing to do with any of that. So being
Yeah.
mindful kind of gets you into the habit of focusing on exactly what's in front of you and nothing else. Anybody else have any ideas of what mindfulness needs to them?
I think mine is pausing.
Yes.
Being mindful for me is taking a pause. Like some things can come at me and come at me quick, and being aware of my own how I respond to things. So for me, mine is pause, breathe, and then try to regroup.
Yeah.
That's my mindfulness.
Yes, I love that. Yes, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. You guys have wonderful ideas. Many times people feel that practicing mindfulness is something that is related to a religious practice, and it's not necessarily that at all. It's not anything like meditation or something like that. But granted, religions, no matter what background you're from, all have some sort of mindfulness practice, whether it be prayer, meditation, or different rituals. There's always a point where you focus all of your energy into a positive force and to get a positive outcome. And generally, that's pretty much what mindfulness is. And just as you were saying, mindfulness can be something as simple as counting to 10 before you respond in a situation, or just practicing the woo-saw. You remember on Bad Boys? When he was rubbing his ears talking about woosah, woosah. That's exactly mindfulness. You're concentrating on the feeling that you're getting from rubbing your ears, and you're concentrating on just breathing and taking a second. So those are all wonderful answers, and all of that falls underneath the umbrella of, I'm going to mute you back, under mindfulness. Let's see, where are we at here? So, practicing mindfulness throughout the day allows us to act according to the moment at hand so you can be the beautiful person that you absolutely know that you are. You all got into being a caregiver for a particular reason. You wanted to mold and shape the minds of our youth. And let me tell you, we need it now more than ever. And the way that you respond when you are dealing with a child for 8 hours a day, if you are a teacher or whatever the situation may be, if you're dealing with a child for 8 hours a day, you have to consider how much of your personality is going to end up in that child. It can't be all of the parents because they're with you for the majority of their day also. So if you're flying off the handle and responding in a negative way, it's going to rub off on them as well. So you definitely don't want to let your emotional baggage from previous situations go into a different situation. So in early childhood, practicing mindfulness is a tool that can be used to focus, to improve overall focus in children as well as in adult. The human brain is an organ just like anything else. It could be made stronger and it also can get weaker. And it also can be trained to do things the more that you focus on it. Being in the present moment allows listeners to respond better to ourselves and respond better to the people that we care for, so we can react with compassion as opposed to just reacting out of emotion. When learning new activities, we have to be compassionate with ourselves and we have to be compassionate with the children that we are teaching as well. Mindfulness is difficult. I'm sure a lot of you have heard all of the benefits of meditation and how meditation is good. There we go. And how meditation is really good for your mind, body, and soul, and all that good stuff. And it's so hard to turn your brain off. As soon as you sit down and say, okay, I'm going to try this meditation thing, all of a sudden your mind goes to, you know what, I forgot to pick up milk at Walmart, dang it. Now I got to go all the way back to the store. And then you start wandering again. And then you start beating yourself up like, I can't do this meditation thing. I can't do mindfulness because my mind is always wandering. When you encounter something like that, when you're practicing mindfulness, you just notice that you're off track and then bring yourself back. It's just like training a puppy. When you have a puppy for the first time, you train it to go outside and use the bathroom, right? So they'll come in and they'll go out and they'll have a great day and come in and go out and everything will be going great. Then all of a sudden they'll pee on the side of your couch. And you're like, what is going on? I thought you had it all together. But you don't just give up on the puppy. You just redirect. You regroup and then you try again. And that's the same thing with mindfulness. When you get off track, just get yourself back to where you need to be. And eventually you'll end up learning the new behavior. So this is the fun part. So there's going to be 3 sections that we actually do a little bit of moving around. They're about 10 to 15 minutes apiece. And the first one is a mindfulness activity. So I like you to sit in your chair nice and tall. Let me find my notes. Here they are. And we're going to use our bodies as a means for a mindfulness activity. Make sure you guys can see me okay. If I make me bigger, there we go. Okay, so we're going to use our body as a means for a mindfulness activity. You're going to concentrate on your breathing and you're going to concentrate on how you're moving your body. This is actually a format of a class that I've taught in the past. It is called chair yoga, and it's really for seniors, but it's also good for children because the directions are very easy to follow. So the first thing that I like to, I'm going to turn on a little bit of music, a little bit of ambiance, something to kind of fill the white noise. Let's see here. So we're going to do the activity, and then after we do the activity, we'll kind of debrief, and we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about the key points that you can use in your classroom or in your situation so you can be able to kind of recreate something like this. So let's turn this music on a little bit. Hopefully you can hear it. Something that's nice and calm. Okay. So you're going to sit up nice and tall. I'd like you to bring your feet and your knees together, okay? You're going to extend your hands down on either side. Bring your shoulders all the way down. Take a big deep breath in. Bring yourself to relax. For this next few minutes, I want you here with me. There's nothing else going on. Fully try to take advantage of everything that we're doing here today for not only your body, but also something that you can take along with you. This is called mountain pose. This is actually a yoga pose. And try to bring yourself into focus. Place your hands onto your lap. Let's begin to move our head from the right to the left, bringing our chin all the way to one side and to the other, working into that neck. And let's nod our head up and down. Bringing our head all the way up, working into all parts of the neck, trying to get everything moving. And let's draw a circle with the crown of our head, dropping our ear to our shoulder, our chin to our chest, and all the way around the back. Concentrate on that breathing, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And let's rotate our head the other way. You may start hearing things starting to snap, crackle, and pop. That's a good thing. Getting all those juices moving. And let's bring our head to a stop. Let's extend our hands down on either side. Let's bring our hands all the way up into the air, stretching through our fingertips. Lengthen that spine, reach all the way up high. Very nice. Let's drop one hand down, leave the other extended. Let's lean to one side. And let's lean to the other side. Fantastic. Let's raise our hands all the way up into the air. Concentrate on your movement and your breathing. Open up the chest. Squeeze the shoulder blades behind you, bringing those hands back. Remember, don't hold your breath. Sometimes when we do these stretches, we forget and we should kind of hold our breath and grunt as we do them. Give yourself a big hug. Hugs are nice. Very good. Let's drop our hands down to either side. Let's roll our shoulders back, big circles, bringing those shoulders all the way up to your ears and circling them back, loosening up everything you got going on, all the tension that you're holding in your shoulders. Fantastic. Let's roll them forward. Great. Bring your shoulders to a stop. Let's reach your hand out in front, cross it in front of you. Place your hand onto your elbow and pull everything toward you. Try to keep your shoulder out of your ear to really get that stretch. There we go. There we go. Now take this hand, place it over your shoulder, pat yourself on the back, push a little bit deeper into that stretch. Keep that shoulder away from your ear. Concentrate on your breathing. Try not to grunt or hold your breath. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side. Extend that hand out in front, cross it in front, place this hand onto your elbow, keeping that shoulder out of your ear. Keeping that breathing nice and steady. Looks good, looks good. And place this hand onto your shoulder. Push a little deeper into that stretch, keeping that shoulder out of your ear. Great, let's place both of our hands onto our lap. Close your eyes, relax the shoulders, relax your face. I'd like you to take just a couple of deep breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Bringing it all back into focus. Let's interlace our fingers in front of us. Bring your hands close to you. Then push away as if you're trying to crack your knuckles. This stretches out your forearms and getting down into your wrists, which is something that feels wonderful if you sit at a computer all day. Nice and slow, getting that full range of motion. Separate your hands, point your fingertips toward the sky, and then point them towards the ground, stretching really deeply into the wrists. I like it. Make two tight closed fists. Bend at the elbows and draw a circle with your wrists. This feels great. I don't know about you, but I type all day, honey. And this feels great. Concentrate on that movement and how great it feels to stretch everything out. Go the opposite direction. Clasp those hands together, move them all around. Separate your hands, open them up nice and wide, and then close them. Let's bring our hands to our lap. We're going to Make our knees just a little bit wider. Place your hands onto your lap. We're going to rotate our entire upper half in one big circle. Taking it all the way around town, honey. Nice and slow. Now, something that you have to realize about circles is they have no corners. So pay close attention that you're hitting every single part of that circle. Nice and slow as you move around. Now, hey, let's go the opposite direction as well. Circle that torso all the way around. Concentrating on the motion and on your breathing. Great. Bring yourself to a stop. Bring your feet and your knees together. Bring your palms together. Press those palms into each other. And let's sway side to side, keeping those knees facing forward. Great. Bring yourself to a stop in the center. Let's extend our hands all the way up into the air. We're going to turn one direction and we're going to place our back hand onto the back of our chair. Turn behind you and look over your shoulder, getting a stretch into the lower and mid back. And let's reach our hands all the way up into the air. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side. Let's take our hand and put it on the back of our chair, getting that good stretch into our lower back. Let's bring our hands all the way up into the air once more. And bring them slowly down to your lap. Close your eyes. Let's bring it back to focus. Take a couple of deep breaths. Relax your face. Relax your shoulders. Be here now. Interlace your fingers, slip them over one of your knees. Pick your knee up the best that you can. Draw a circle with your toe. Great, let's place that foot on the ground. Let's do the same thing with the opposite leg. Interlace your fingers, slip them over your knee. Pick your knee up the best you can. Draw a circle with that toe. Place this foot on the ground as well. We're going to rock from heels to toes, getting all the way down into the ankle. Let's bring our feet to a stop. Extend one foot out in front. Flex those toes back towards you, and then point your foot. And point, and flex. You should feel this stretch all the way down through your quad, all the way down through your into your knee joints, into the calf, and into the ankle. Now draw a circle with that toe. And go the opposite direction as well. Great, place that foot on the ground. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side. Let's begin with pointing and flexing our foot, getting down into the ankle and all the way up through the quads. Remember to keep that breathing nice and steady. Concentrate on your stretch. And let's draw a circle with our toe. Great, place that foot on the ground. Let's bring our hands to our lap. Take a couple of deep breaths. And as we did at the beginning, let's begin to move our head side to side, getting back into the neck. And nod your head up and down. Draw that circle with the crown of your head, dropping your ear to your shoulder, your chin to your chest, and all the way around the back. Get everything snapping and cracking. And let's go the opposite direction as well. Bring your head to a stop, relax your hands to your sides. Let's shrug the shoulders up to the ears and then let them fall back down. Let's do that a couple of times, getting into the traps and into the upper back. You can time your breathing with your movement, inhaling as you lift and exhaling as you let them fall. Bring your shoulders to a stop, extend your hands out on either side into mountain pose. Check that posture, sit up nice and tall, extend that neck. Breathe in for a couple of deep breaths. As you inhale, lift your hands up into the air. Exhale, bring your palms together and down in front of you. Inhale, push away. And exhale, place your hands onto your lap. Well done, ladies. Well done, well done, well done. So, that is the mindfulness activity that you can do with the people that you serve. So let's talk about it. Let's debrief just a little bit. A couple of teaching strategies that I'd like to share with you as you try to do something like this. Don't make the language too difficult. A leg is a leg, a foot is a foot. Don't make the language too, just keep it simple. Keep it absolutely simple. Every child knows their body parts and they know how to move them and they absolutely can mimic what you're doing. So don't make the language too difficult. Expect everyone to get off task a little bit. It's very hard to keep school-age children still. Expect them to get off task. Expect you to get off task. It's going to happen. But you notice throughout the exercise, there were times that were speckled throughout that I bring you back to focus, that everybody has to, calm down, put your hands on your lap, let's come back together and we can do this, So about every 3 minutes or so, I tend to bring everybody back to focus. So don't get frustrated if people get off track. It's all about training your mind to bring back to the focus, okay? You just started that. You don't have to be a fitness instructor to know how to move your body. You just start at the crown of your head and work all the way down to the soles of your feet. I have a little list here, and you too can do the same thing. I have a list of all the little exercises that I would like to do in a particular order, and it starts at the crown of your head. It goes to the soles of your feet. The ones that are highlighted in blue, that's when I stop and take a pause. So I just do each one. For an example, I wanted to do this exercise for about 10 minutes. So I picked 20 exercises. I do each of them for about 30 seconds or so. So that'll be enough exercises to fill up the time, and you could do the same thing. There's plenty of resources on YouTube that you can look at to get ideas of how you can move your body, but it does take a little bit of rehearsal to be able to move from one thing to another without having to think of what that exercise is that you wrote down. Because what makes sense to me on paper right now may not make sense to me tomorrow. So it takes a little bit of practicing to really know what you're doing, so it all can be one conducive exercise. Encourage them to breathe with their belly. A lot of kids, when they take a deep breath, you'll see their shoulders rise and fall. Same thing with a lot of adults. Encourage belly breathing to make sure they get all the oxygen that they possibly can, and also to encompass that idea of relaxation and just bringing everything into a focus and slowing everything down. Think of it as kind of a timeout for everybody. Nobody's necessarily in trouble, but everybody can really benefit from just taking a second to just calm down. I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like I can't hear myself think. And just taking even just 5 minutes throughout the day to just pause and just to stop, it really helps my mental capacity throughout the day. The music that I was using, I don't know if you could hear it or not, I was kind of back there, but the music that I was using is just Pandora. It's called Calm Meditation Radio, so it's completely free for you to use. The only thing that I recommend, if you were going to use it and do it in your classroom, you may want to pay for the membership. It's like $4, $4 or $5 a month, because without the membership, all of a sudden you'll hear, oh, O'Reilly's in the middle of what you're doing. And there'll be an ad and completely kills the vibe of what you got going on. So you have to be very careful of what type of music that you're using to make sure that there are no interruptions throughout the activity. Let's see, I think I did it all. Do you have any questions about the mind part?
There's a lot of really positive comments in the chat about how relaxing it was, that it was easy, effective, and everybody just loved it.
That's wonderful. Hot dog. All right, one for one. All right, that's great. I'm glad that you liked it because I really feel energized after something like that. You would think that something that's slow and that's steady really wouldn't kind of jazz you up a little bit, but it does. It really does. It gets all of your blood moving. It gets everything moving. It loosens you up a little bit. There's so many times that I went to nursing homes and they were explaining to me how much we take advantage that as you get older, it's really hard to do this. And as they were doing it, they could barely move their wrists. And you don't realize how much you need that to brush your teeth or to stir something or to comb your hair until you can't do it anymore. And so that it's very important, especially when you're working at desks for long periods of time, that you get up and you have to move. Because if you train yourself to sit all day, guess what you're going to end up doing? Sitting in a chair with wheels all day, if that's what you train your body to do. So make sure that you get up and get active and get moving in some capacity, and even do this at your desk to make sure that everything's moving. Okay, so we're going to move to the mind, the body and soul component of this. This is a little bit more up-tempo, a lot of fun too. So for caregivers of school-age children, I can relate it to you this way. Gym class is not what it used to be. You remember gym class when you went to school? Gym class ain't what it used to be. My daughter, she's 14. I popped in on her one day at her gym class, and they were doing Tae Bo with Billy Blanks on one of those old school big back TVs that they rolled in from somewhere. I don't even know where they found this TV, but they were doing Tae Bo, and their teacher was just kind of just standing back and watching them do it. And some of the kids were participating and some of them weren't. So it's very important to try to instill the habits of physical activity into the youth that we have today. We live in a very sedentary world. Everything has been going virtual, especially lately. But something like this you could still continue to do virtually. Is something that they can still participate in because you can clearly see everybody as they're participating in it. And also, they're kind of in their own space, so nobody's near each other. So they're able to still be active and still moving kind of in a confined area. So as caregivers, we must enrich their minds and also influence them to have good behaviors, because this may not be something that is instilled in them at home. Our bodies are very important. We only get one. When you see a 5-year-old little girl, you have to realize that she's going to have those same knees when she's 45 years old. And after a while, those shocks and struts, they get to running out, honey. You got to take care of them. You got to take the best care of them that you possibly can to keep them in tip-top shape. So getting active and getting moving is often the prescription to any ailment that is out there, whether it be diabetes or poor circulation. Now, what led me to start to work out in my life is I've had high blood pressure since I was 13 years old. Why? I don't know. It's just something that I've had to deal with my entire life. It was to the point that in my early 20s that I was taking diuretics and medication to try to control it. But after I started to exercise on a regular basis, I no longer needed those things because I was using other ways to kind of get everything moving. So I'm definitely not against Western medicine, but there's so many things that you can fix, which is with being active and getting moving in your life. So the physical fitness encompasses many things. A couple of them are important to me. I already talked about blood pressure and all that. And one of them in particular is cardiovascular endurance. I'm sure you know what that means. It has to do heavily with your heart. And that's primarily what I focus on in my fitness journey. Have you ever been winded when going up a flight of stairs? Have you ever noticed that your hands, your ankles, or your feet may swell from standing too long, sitting too long? You get up after a while, you're like, I sat too long. Does that ever happen to you? All of these things relate to your cardiovascular endurance and how healthy and how strong your heart is. Having strong cardio enables your heart to pump as much oxygenated blood to all parts of your body as easily as possible with one big pump. We all have these fun little, oh, mine's buzzing. We all have these fun little smartwatches and all that, and resting heart rate is something that is often on there. I don't know if that's something that you paid attention to before, but if you have one of those, a Fitbit or an Apple Watch or something like that, it's definitely something that is on there. A healthy resting heart rate is about 60 to 100 beats per minute, which is about a beat every second. The lower the resting heart rate, the stronger your heart is. That means your heart can explode all sorts of blood to all parts of your body in one big pump. And if it's pumping really, really fast, that means that it's working really hard. So you want to make sure that you have your cardiovascular endurance as good as possible. And the way that you improve it is by doing cardiovascular exercise. You have to get out of breath. And that's something that makes people uncomfortable about exercise. You have to get out of breath in order to strengthen your heart. A lot of people, when they start to get out of breath or a bead of sweat comes down on their forehead, they're like, oh, it's time to stop. I'm hot. I need something to drink. I can't do this. But no, that's exactly where you want to be. You want to challenge yourself, and you want to challenge your body, and you want to challenge yourself to do more so you can improve your organs and your overall functionality of your body. Another component of fitness that is very important is flexibility. Have you ever dropped something on the ground and you kind of start making life choices of whether or not you really need it? You drop it and kind of, you get real wide. And you try to get down there and pray that you get back up. That has everything to do with your flexibility.
What about picking it up with your toes?
Well, I guess that's pretty flexible, you know, if you can get your foot all the way up there. One for the course. But yeah, that's all has to do with flexibility. But having poor flexibility puts unnecessary stress on your joints. We operate on a pulley system so that your muscles and your ligaments are really pulling these bones the way that they need to be pulled. But if your flexibility is not that great, it's kind of trying to stretch a cold rubber band. It's just going to snap, and it's not going to bend and mold and be pliable as easily as it can. Having poor flexibility also prohibits your range of motion. I told you before about the individuals at the retirement homes that they couldn't rotate their wrists, or they couldn't get down to tie their shoe. After a couple of weeks of doing yoga, there have been so many people that came to me with absolutely fits of joy that they can finally tie their shoe, because it was something that they could never do before. They would have to take their shoe off, tie it, and then try to slip it back on some type of way. But with a little bit of practice and a little bit of exercise, all of these things can improve. And it's something that I encourage you to work on, because as you get older, this gets harder. And as we're still here, you may think like, oh honey, my ship has sailed. It has not. It is not too late. It is not too late to get active and get moving and still take care of yourself and take care of your body. So my personal goal with my physical fitness is to do for myself for as long as possible, for as long as I can. I have two daughters. I have a 14-year-old and I have an 8-year-old, and I really don't trust them to make life decisions for me. So I want to be able to do everything I can for as long as I can for myself, and that is my hope for you too. We're only given one body, and we have to take care of it as much as we can. Balance is also something that we have to pay attention to. We have to be able to shift our weight easily from one direction to another, and a lot of cardiovascular exercise, especially dance fitness and things of that nature, cardio boxing and things like that, will have those quick changes that will allow you to get used to shifting your weight from one foot to the other. That is important because of cases of falling. If you feel yourself going from one direction and you're on one foot and that is completely foreign to you, you're just going to go with it and go down. But if you're in the habit of using the muscles to balance your weight, you have a better chance of not just going down with every single time that you get tilted one way or the other. And lastly, muscular strength and endurance. Have you ever gotten tired from shampooing your hair or combing your hair? Like, oh, my arms are tired. I can't believe my arms are tired. Or you have to carry a big case of water and it's just absolutely the heaviest thing that you've ever picked up in your life. Or you call somebody else to get the case of water out of your car. That is all related to muscular endurance. And just like I said before with the muscles, it's what's protecting your joints and your bones. And oftentimes, problems with your joints and your bones, such as arthritis and stuff, can be improved once you start to do a little bit of weightlifting and improve your muscular strength. So, that being said, we're going to encompass all those things into our next exercise. This is called Zumba Gold. And Zumba, I'm sure that you've heard of. It's a type of dance fitness that is based in Latin roots, but you can also use all sorts of music from all sorts of places. It's done seated in a chair, which is interested in and of itself. You don't leave your chair at all, but you're definitely dancing. According to my Fitbit, I don't burn any less calories standing than I do sitting. There is a group of ladies here at the Monroe Street Neighborhood Center who do this several times a week. Most of them are over the age of about 65 years old, and they absolutely love it. I think it's hilarious that they know Cardi B songs. They know every single lyric to every single Cardi B, anything that I've ever played for them, and they absolutely love it. We also play things that they know too, but it's a fun way to engage them in music. Music has a way to bring us to a specific time in our lives, whether it be past or present. It keeps you in the present because you can't fake music. Yeah, as soon as you let your mind wander, you'll get off beat. So you have to stay in the present moment. You have to stay on top of the music because the song is not going to wait for anyone. So we're going to do a little bit of the Zumba. I'm running out of time, surprisingly. Let's see if I can share my music. You won't be able to hear me, but you'll be able to hear the music. The way that Zumba works is, let me move this down just a little bit. It's like a fancy game of monkey see, monkey do. You do exactly what you see. For example, if I raise this hand up, you raise up the same hand. I realize that this is my left hand, but you do exactly what you see. I am your mirror. So as if you were looking into a mirror is what you're going to see. So let's practice a little bit. Let's raise this hand. And this hand. And this hand. Jump up and down. Stop. March. Yep. But the thing about Zumba is completely wordless. Everything is done with using cues from your body. So the participants that are in a Zumba class have to be very mindful and very present because they have to pay attention to the instructor. So do what you can, no more, no less. And we will debrief after we do a little dancing around. And that's all I got. So let me see if I could share my sound. This button, and share. Okay. So you're gonna follow me and do what I do. I'm gonna mute me too and start the music.
Turn the bass up. Let's go. I thank God every day that I woke up feeling this way, and I can't help loving myself, and I don't need nobody else. No, baby. If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me
Right hand in the air, left hand in the air. Everybody in the air, let's go. In the air, right hand in the air, left hand in the air. Everybody in the air, let's go. In the air, slide to the right, right. Slide to the left, left. Slide to the front, front. Bring it back, back. Slide to the right, right. Slide to the left, left. Slide to the front, front. Bring it back, back. All right, about to turn it up right now. Just follow my instructions. So let's go. When I say dance, you dance. And when I say stop, don't move at all. Let's go. Dance, 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 dance. Stop. Dance, 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 dance. Stop. We ain't done. I said we ain't done. Come on. Okay, that was good. But I want to see everybody get into a little freestyle. So on the count of three, let's get into it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, let's go. Freestyle, 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 freestyle. Let's go. Right hand in the air, left hand in the air. Everybody in the air, let's go. In the air, right hand in the air, left hand in the air. Everybody in the air, let's go. In the air, slide to the right, right. Slide to the left, left. Slide to the front, front. Bring it back, back. Slide to the right, right. Slide to the left, left. Slide to the front, front. Bring it back, back. Okay, you guys got it last time, but we're gonna switch it up just a little bit. Same instructions, dance and stop, but we're gonna make it a little bit different. You guys ready? Follow me. Dance, dance, stop. Dance, 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 stop. Dance, stop, dance, stop, dance, dance, stop. Tick tock, tick tock. Dance, 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 dance. All right, here we go again. About to get into the freestyle section one more time. You guys ready? On the count of three. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Freestyle, 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 freestyle. Let's go. 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 Let's go.
Tony, we lost your sheet.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. 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 Go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we lost the screen share and I was trying to figure out how to fix it.
It's okay. I was done anyway. That was enough. We're running out of time anyhow. So that is how Zumba Gold does. So teaching tips, we'll debrief just a little bit so I can get you out of here on time. The things that you notice is definitely a mindfulness thing, because as soon as you stop paying attention, you're completely off. You have no time to form an opinion about what you see. You take it as it is, and you got to do it right then. So it keeps everybody cohesive. It keeps everybody on the same page. There's no talking and no leaving your seat. So it makes you have a connection with your students and the people that you're providing care to. You kind of share a brain for a second, and you just listen to. You're just interacting with this music together, and it's really a cool experience. The more people that you have in the area, the more that you can really feel the energy. The best way to tell you to be a fantastic instructor and to do something like this is pick songs that you like, pick songs that the kids will like, and make sure you know them backwards, forwards, and sideways, because you have to be able to cue a little bit before the motion actually happens to keep everybody on beat. You're about half a step ahead of everybody as you're going through every single exercise. Let me see. I think I am about done. I am.
Tony, your volume dropped after the music. I don't know if you can turn it up a little bit.
It does that. Can you hear me now? Hold on a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, keep talking.
Okay, it'll catch up. I'm in a big
Okay.
stone building, and whenever I share my music, it takes a while for the internet to kind of catch up with me turning it off and on. Hopefully you can hear me okay. But that's the presentation that I have for you today. Hopefully you'll be able to take some of these tools and put them into your classroom and share them with other people, and also do them yourself, because you definitely can sit in a chair and move around a little bit and break a little bit of a sweat. I thank you so much for your time, and I thank you for having me here today. And I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And that's all I've
You
got.
do an amazing job, Tony. Can you share if you have a gym somewhere? I know I've done exercise with you under the county, but I was wondering if you're doing anything any other time.
Yes. I still have classes here at the Monroe Street Neighborhood Center. I teach the Zumba Gold that you saw in the chair. I teach it during the day. It's at 11 o'clock. I teach on the weekends line dancing. We didn't get to that today, but it's line dancing at 10 a.m. on Saturdays here. I'm starting classes at Holistic Hands that I was telling you about. My first class was yesterday. I'm teaching Pound, which is a class with drumsticks, which is very nice as well. It's kind of fun to hit stuff with sticks. So I'm teaching Pound, and I'm also teaching standing Zumba there. Thursdays at 5 is Pound class, and Fridays at 4, which is today, is Zumba. So we're taking donations for those classes, but like I said, we're trying everything we can to be able to offer them as a donation-based thing or completely free for the community, because we feel that these things are so important to our mental health, especially post-pandemic and all that. We got to burn some of this stuff off, and this is the way that we want to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tony. You've got really amazing comments in the chat if you have a chance to look at them. People have really enjoyed each activity and the whole session, so thank you.
Oh my goodness, thank you guys so much. This was really cool. This is really fun. I thought I wouldn't have enough time, but I ran out of time.
Tony, do you think that you would do something virtual?
Just yeah, Holistic Hands, we're trying to figure out a way to put my stuff virtually that will be easy for everybody. Not everybody is Zoom friendly, but we're getting there. You know, the population that I teach mostly are, like I said, are over the age of like 68. They're like 70, 75 years old, so they want nothing to do with Zoom in any capacity at all. So I'm trying to pull teeth and get them to do it, but we'll see. I hope to put some stuff online. I am on YouTube. There's a couple of things on YouTube. If you just type in my name, Toni Quinn, there are full workouts there. I don't have my yoga stuff, but I definitely have some chair exercises that you can enjoy.
Okay. I'll definitely check it out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies.
Enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you.
Thank you. I did too.
Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Hope to see you all at the closing session at 2:15. We have a special tribute that we're doing today.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll do that.